Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you all are doing well this evening. All right. Y'all know how we do it. Tell me where you coming from. Come when you calling in from. Hi, Miss Vivian. Hi, Sharnetta. Hey, Trent. All right, Chi-Town. Mark, you're in Tacoma, Washington. Nice. Never been to Tacoma. Only been to Seattle before. Never any of the other cities. Maryland, Marlboro, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Arthur, Kansas City. I love when I see all my regulars. Y'all do not disappoint. It does not matter the day of the week. Hey, Lawrence. Very good. I hope you guys had a wonderful day. Um, Cherie and I talked, and Cherie should be coming on in a moment. I think she'll still be in the car. So I'm not sure if she'll be on camera or not, but she'll be here. And we were talking, and instead of doing our equity crowdfunding training, we're going to do something a little special. Here she's coming on now, where we just want to talk to you guys and talk about the 10K. And I may even ask some of you who come to all of the lives and come to our Bet on Black pitches to just, kind of share a little bit about what you think about 10K and the progress that we're making, and really talk to some of the people who are not yet members to help them, better understand why what we're doing is critical to building wealth, and not just for ourselves, but for the community, right? Because what we're doing here is not self-centered. It's not just about building up our portfolios. It's really about what we're doing for the entrepreneurs, in addition to how we're building wealth for ourselves. Hey, Cherie.
Hello, Tawana. Hello, everybody. Hope we all are doing well. Happy Monday to everyone. Super excited to be here.
I told him you were in the car, so you wouldn't be on camera, but that you were here with us, and I want you to drive safely, so don't try to turn on the camera.
No, I won't. In fact, I'm about to get to a church parking lot, so I'll be safe for a while. So about 5 minutes, I'll be there. Yeah.
Awesome.
But we're super excited for tonight's conversation. And yeah, we have some news we want to share with people. Tawana and I have been working busily behind the scenes, and I have some interesting factoids that I think that the community would really enjoy listening to as well. And like Tawana said, we want to hear from you too, within the community. So Tawana, I'll toss it back over to you, my dear.
Wonderful. I see a lot of familiar names. I was going to say faces, because they're faces to me, right? We see them every week in here. But so Cherie, we've got a lot of our regulars on this evening, but I do see some names that are not familiar. And I guess this conversation is geared, towards everyone, but I really want to talk to the people who have not yet decided to be members of 10K, or you're just finding out about us and you're just joining. Maybe tonight is your first time even trying to figure out what's this 10K project and what are they about. It's a perfect evening for that, because what we really want to do is we want to reintroduce ourselves to you, right? We want you to get to know who we are. For those of you who are members, we want to make sure you're taking full advantage of your membership. We want to also tell you about another level of membership we've added. And so let's just jump right in. So, the 10K project is at its core the largest group of small dollar investors, right, on the internet. And what we do is we join together as a community, right? And we support Black entrepreneurs who are trying to raise money. We primarily do that with entrepreneurs that are trying to raise money via equity crowdfunding. That won't always be the road we take, right? Because even though equity crowdfunding is growing phenomenally, right, the industry itself, Black entrepreneurs are also raising money off of equity crowdfunding platforms, and they're still offering equity, right? And so, one of the things we're going to be exploring is what does that look like for us? Now that we have this seat at the table, right? Non-accredited investors are able to invest in early stage deal. Accredited investors are able to do the same without any limits. Now that we kind of have permission to build wealth, right? The law supports it now. Are we limiting ourselves by only focusing on equity crowdfunding? And so we'll be exploring more opportunities that we can present to the community. But equity crowdfunding is our core, right? We are looking at campaigns, every day, trying to bring entrepreneurs to the community that have good, solid, what appears to be good and solid business models and great ideas. And we bring them in front of the community in the form of Bet on Black pitches. And you, the community, then decides if they fit in your portfolio and if you want to invest with them. And we do this simply because we know that the Black entrepreneurs have trouble raising capital. Very simple, right? They can't just walk into a bank and show, the paperwork that they have and be granted loans. Oftentimes they are, taken, around the mulberry bush, right? Given a hard time. The information that they have may not be sufficient. They may not have adequate assets to support the loan. And they don't have the rich uncle, right? We've talked about that before. They don't have the rich uncle that can just say, here's the $1 million, go dream big. And so what we're able to do is we're able to band together through equity crowdfunding and help fund them, right? And so that's what we do at our core. In addition to that, we have amazing resources that we bring to the community, educational resources that we bring both from the entrepreneur standpoint as well as from the investor standpoint, right? We've been focusing a little bit more here recently on the entrepreneur, but we need to start, refocusing on the investor as well, and just helping the entrepreneur understand not just once you get the money that you need, but how do you grow the business? How do you scale the business? How do you keep the business stable, right? How do you grow your marketing list? And how do you make sure legally you're protected and make sure that you're doing the right thing from an accounting standpoint? So those are the types of professional advisors that we're bringing in front of the community of entrepreneurs. And in the from an investment standpoint, we are trying to expose you to what we consider alternative investment options, right? We're not really talking about the stock market here, but we're talking about all the other ways you can invest and build your portfolio. Cherie has brought amazing guests like, how to buy businesses. That session was phenomenal for me because I didn't know you could buy a business that already had the employees, already had the SOPs. Literally, you get the key to the business and you walk in and everybody's working. Like that, I never conceptually thought that was a thing. So that's amazing that you can do that. Buying hotels, didn't know that was a thing, right? We brought Tracy Prigmore to the community, Black woman who's buying hotels. Um, so many opportunities exist for us to build wealth. And because we don't always know about them, no one's having these conversations with us, it's perfect that now you've come to a community where that's happening, right? Because typically those were not things that, we don't talk about those kind of things in most families around the kitchen table, most Black families, right? It's happening in some, because we've talked to some of those people where the entrepreneur has said, my parents instilled in me at an early age XYZ about business, or XYZ about credit, or XYZ about buying businesses. Like that's happening. It's just not happening everywhere, right? And so we want to normalize those conversations instead of having them just exist in a handful of households, right? So that's one of the reasons why we even encourage you guys to bring the young people, while you're watching us on these lives, bring the kids in the room, right? However old the kids are, bring them in the room and let them hear these conversations, especially when we're doing those Better on Black pitches, because to see these entrepreneurs talk about their business, talk about how it started, right? From the ideation stage to now they're raising capital. Many of them already have revenue coming in from the product or service that they provide. To see how it all evolved for them is something young people deserve to see early, right? They deserve to see what success looks like when it looks just like them. And so that's something that we focus on as well.
Can, can I
Absolutely,
can I
Sheree.
interject? Okay, so I also want to say that we're in an interesting time with regards to being Black in America and with regards to equity crowdfunding. There's this interesting kind of convergence of different factors where all of us are in the right place at the right time. So there was a Morgan Stanley report that was done a few years ago that proved out that when our businesses are properly funded, we make just as much money as any other ethnically founded company that's out there. That's number one. Number two is, like Tawana said, our businesses are least likely to get funded, not just from the banks, but also from angel investors and venture capitalists. And yes, I did receive 2 emails from 2 distinct people when we brought Brian Belly on a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about his portfolio of over 150 companies. I did see where a couple of people emailed me and said, but he doesn't really have very much Black representation in his portfolio. Other angel investors are still leery of investing in us. And one of the things that I have been suggesting to the community is this is an ideal opportunity for us as investors to be able to get in and really profit from our own innovation. We have been complaining for years, for centuries, that we are continuously stolen from, that our ideas are stolen from, and other people are able to make money from it. Well, now we're able to make money from it, but the only way we can make money from it is to invest in it and to make sure that the entrepreneurs are fully supported with not only financial resources, but the other items that they need in order to start, grow, buy, acquire businesses, etc. So I wanted to definitely put a pin in there. And one of the things that's proven out is that equity crowdfunding is profitable for you as the investor when you build a portfolio. Now, of course, we cannot say that your portfolio is going to be successful. You know, we have to have that disclaimer in there. But it's been statistically proven that real estate and investing as an angel investor, which is what we're doing, are 2 of the most profitable asset classes that you can be in as a small dollar investor. And in fact, with real estate, a lot of times you can't get in with thousands of dollars. With these types of investments, you can get in with a lot less. And I'll throw crypto in there as well. So we'll say those 3 asset classes. But I wanted to want to make sure that people start thinking about that as they are considering either being a part of the 10K project, or I was speaking with someone yesterday who said, well, I'm a part of the 10K project, but I haven't been coming to the Bet on Black pitches. Right. So I'm like, well, just listen to the replays, or just when we send out the email, click on the campaign link and see if it's something that you want to be a part of, because these companies truly can use your help. So
yeah, And Cherie, John Adamson put into the chat, he said, equity crowdfunding is a great core strategy. There's no lack of potential demand on both the business or investor side and investor side. Diversification means focusing on investments that have 20x return potential, as well as S&P 15% return potential. 15 to 20% is great, but doesn't happen every year or lead to game-changing wealth. So you're right. So that's why diversification is absolutely important, but we don't want to forget any asset classes, especially the ones Cherie just talked about, right? We want to consider everything. And we want to educate ourselves on everything. You know, that's one of the things I love about what we do. We're constantly educating and giving people information that they can then take and make decisions on their own, right? We're not making decisions for people. We're just trying to level the playing field by making sure they have the same access to information and education that then allows them to earn and gain wealth. So I love that component of what we do as well. You know, you talk about coming, you know, the member you talked to that said I'm a member, but I'm not coming to the pitches. We have to date, tomorrow will be, because we do Bet on Black pitches every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow will be pitch number 22, right? So we've been doing this every Tuesday since the first Tuesday in March. And what that means is that we have assisted in raising capital for 21, tomorrow will be 22, so 21 entrepreneurs, right? We've helped them raise the capital that they need to either buy more products, you know, build manufacturing plants for some, get their product actually made and manufactured, help them with marketing so the word can get out, right? Help them hire staff so that now they can give back to the community and hire people, again, that look like us, right? So what we're doing here is, I really, really believe, amazing work. And when I'm talking to the entrepreneurs, they are so grateful, right? The problem, I think, and I'm going to use the word problem strategically, but the problem is, I think so many of us are missing an opportunity, right? Because maybe we were engaged enough to buy the membership, but we're not tapping into all of the resources that $100 lifetime membership fee got you. And we don't want you to miss those opportunities. So we want you to visit the Knowledge Center. We want you to watch the replays when we have guests on that can drop even just a little tidbit, even with Brian Belly, right? And Brian Belly is a friend of the 10K Project. But even though his portfolio may not have included Black entrepreneurs, what he did was he shared with us enough tips and tidbits, though, that it will allow us to build our own portfolio that does include Black entrepreneurs. So there's value in everything that we're bringing to the table here, right? And I don't want us to miss that, right? And a lot of times we're going to be bringing guests here that don't look like us, and we've done that in the past because they have knowledge that we need. And that's what we're about. We're about educating and getting the information that's going to allow us to do great things down the line. And so what I would say, you know, I talked earlier about all the familiar names I see in the chat, because those people come to every single Tuesday session. And if they're not at every single Tuesday, darn close, right? And there are so many, though, that don't show up. And we don't know if you're watching the replay, right? Because we know how many people watch the replay, but we don't know what people watch the replay. I just hope that if you haven't had a chance to put those replays kind of in your schedule, fit them in, even if you can't come live. We send the replay the night after. Right after the pitch, we send the replay. Occasionally it'll come the next morning, but 95% of the time it comes that evening right after it renders. And then we put the replays for all of the pitches in our 2 newsletters. So we have a newsletter on Monday and Thursday for members. If you're a member and you're not getting those newsletters, please, please, please let us know. That means we may not have an accurate email address for you. And we want to make sure we get that, because when we have events, that's how we're notifying you of all the events as well. And so we put those replays in every single edition of the newsletter as long as that campaign is active. And that's our attempt to make sure that all of the members have an opportunity to see that pitch or presentation before the campaign ends, and you're able to support the entrepreneur. But in addition to the pitches, the webinars, when we have these fireside chat meetings on Monday, we bring in an economist to talk to you guys. All of those things are going to be helpful in building building the wealth and taking this journey to building the wealth. And so if you are not a regular member, I would say please try to fit this in your schedule somehow, somewhere, right? And even if it can't be live, those replays are there. If you can only come to one session, in my opinion, a week, I would say come to the Bet on Black pitch, right? I would rewatch via replay sessions like this tonight. Now, I'm glad y'all are here with me live tonight, but if you had to miss tonight and watch it on replay, I would ask that to be the case, because I would love you live. What you get at a live Bet on Black pitch, I think, is superior to doing any level of due diligence, because you've got the entrepreneur right there. And I can tell you, our community, they don't play. They are asking hard questions, right? Putting people on the spot. And so you get to ask the questions that you want to know. Like, I would love, when I invest in the stock market, I'd love to be able to call the CEO and say, why do you do this, right? Because this may help me decide if I really want to buy your stock or not. That's essentially what we're able to do on Tuesday nights, right? We're actually talking to the entrepreneur, and we're challenging things that they say sometimes, like, why are you doing it like that? Why haven't you thought about this? There also is not a week that goes by that we have not given, we the community, not given the entrepreneur an idea that they have not thought of. It happens every week. For those of you who come, tell me if I'm not telling the truth.
You're telling the truth.
Yes, every single week, the entrepreneur kind of has this aha moment where someone in the community, not me, not Sharice, just someone in the community says something or suggests something, and the entrepreneur is like, let's write that down. Let me research that.
And if I could say one more thing, Tawana.
Absolutely.
So I'm human just like everyone else. Tawana knows the full schedule. I don't even meet the entrepreneurs until all of you do on Tuesday evenings, right? Literally, I don't know anything about them. And there have been a couple of times where I come and Tawana says the first sentence about what the business is, and I'm like, oh, I would never invest in something like this. And then I listen, and I'm all of a sudden, the person has gone from, why would I want that in my portfolio, to they've done all of that and they've got this, and next thing you know, I'm investing in them. So my point is, because I know sometimes this happens and we've had people ask, will you give us previews? Mm-hmm. And as we've gone back and forth as leadership, we've decided not to give previews. And this is a key reason. So I do ask, even if you come to something where you're like, I would never want this in my portfolio, please stick around for the presentation at least before you make up your mind.
Yeah, I agree. I've learned so much about different industries that I had no idea about, right? Some things I hate that I learned. When the one water purification guy was on, I hate that he told me that purified water, they kill the bacteria, but it's still in the bottle, and that his solution removes it from the water. I hate that I know it's still in the bottle for the other companies. So, but that was something cool to learn. So we're not only learning about the business, we're learning about the industry. We had another bottled water company. We learned about the industry of water. Like, there's so much information. I'm looking at the chat, and Opal says the pictures are not to be missed. She said, I learned so much from the questions people ask. Amazing. I agree, Opal. oftentimes it feels as if we had a plant in the chat, because people they'll be in that industry and they'll ask a ton of questions, and you can tell based on the answer, even though we don't know necessarily what the answer should be, you can tell if the entrepreneurs got their stuff together or if they don't really have it together. And then you can also tell by the follow-up question that the community member may ask if it was a good answer or not. So it's very, very intriguing and educational. And it makes you step away, like Cherie said, and say, well, wait a minute, I don't know if I had thought about having this type of business in my portfolio, but I'm going to give it a second thought now.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's to be missed. Trent says, yeah, I learned a lot about different industries as well.
Yeah. And there's a question in the Q&A, a very good question.
Oh, let me go to
Tawana.
Oh, Lawrence. Yeah. So Lawrence, great question. Lawrence said, I want to purchase membership for someone to recruit them. How should I go about that? For example, I want to buy my sister a membership, but I don't have her information. Perfect. You want to take that, Cherie?
Yeah. So there are only a couple of pieces of information we need in order for your sister or whomever to become a member. The first is her first and last name. The second piece of information is an email address. And the third piece of information is a phone number. If you don't have your sister's phone number, which I highly doubt, then you can put in your own phone number. So for some of you who are doing it for friends and you don't know the phone number, you can do that. There are other questions that can be answered as well, but you can keep those in the default answers. But those are the 4 pieces of information. And then from there, once you have signed them up, they receive an email which gives them access to the Knowledge Center, and it also automatically puts them on our membership list in our email software so that they can start getting the we have now we've actually established a members onboarding set of emails for new members, and they would also get the emails for the Bet on Black pitches as well. Thank you, Lawrence, for that question.
Yeah, very good question, Lawrence. And I'm going to piggyback Lawrence's question. I see Trent saying, yes, I want to give people too. We actually just added another tier to membership. And we haven't really talked about it. So anyone who goes to the site for the first time sees it. But for those of you who have been around, we've done a terrible job. We apologize for that, of telling you that it exists. But you guys remember Calvin from Freeman Capital? You know, he was coming and doing the financial planning sessions with us. Well, we have partnered with Freeman Capital to include financial planning services in a level of membership. So we charge still $100 lifetime for the basic membership, right? But for $347, you can buy the upgraded membership that includes this 3 months of financial planning. So for those of you who are already a member, obviously we will give you credit for the 100 you've already paid, and it's just the buy up of $247. But for anyone newly becoming a member, they have the option to have everything you get with the basic package and also get the financial planning for 3 months for $347. And we added this level in because as we're talking about building wealth, we know that everyone's on a different, at a different point in the journey, right? Some are still building credit, right? Some are trying to get out of debt. Some are investing for the very first time and just trying to learn about what the investment options are, right? Some are trying to figure out their saving strategy because they don't know how much money they should save or what's the best way to save. If they're trying to get out of debt, the internet has a million different things. Should I pay the highest card with interest or should I pay the lowest balance? So a financial planner is something that I can tell you for a very long time, I never thought I had enough money to do. I thought it was something that rich people had, right? I would hear the executives at the company I work for talking about their financial plan. I thought, well, if they have financial planners, I sure can't have one. Well, shame on me, because I absolutely could have had one then, right? I should have had one 20 years ago. And so we added that tier in because we think it could be a great jumpstart to our community members really trying to figure out what their plan should be, right? Because we're bringing a pitch to you, every week. And some of us can invest every week and some of us can't. But what a financial planner is going to be able to do is to help you realize exactly how much disposable income you have, how much money you should be investing, what diversification really looks like in a portfolio. So they're really going to help you through that. And after the 3 months that you get from the 10K membership, you can continue beyond that 3 months. After you've exhausted that 3 months and you decide, I really like this, then what the guys at Freeman Capital will be able to do is transition you into, one of their other packages at a very reasonable price. So we're adding that in because we really think it's going to complement what we're trying to do and really just add that extra level of um, responsibility, I think, and then also assistance that we need to really kickstart this journey that we're trying to be on, right? One thing to say we're trying to, grow generational wealth and all of that, but it's another thing to say, I have recruited the person who does this for a living, who has proven, right, portfolios and proven client lists to help me. So we're really, really excited about that. So if you're interested in even just checking it out, please go to the site, look and see the bullets that it includes. Like I said, if you're already a member and you click on it and put your information in, it will only charge you the $247. If you are not a member, then it will charge you $347. And as we continue to grow, we'll add additional membership tiers, right, where it makes sense, because we really want you guys to be fruitful and to really expand both financially and educationally. So I hate that we didn't tell you about that because I think it's been sitting out there for about a month. So I slapped my own hand. I'm sorry, but we're telling you now. So check it out. What else? What else? What else?
There are a couple of additional questions in the Q&A, Tawana.
Okay. Ms. Vivian says, she says, question, I'm used to purchasing shares. There's various means of equity crowdfunding. Can you go over the various ones? So for example, convertible notes, and then also go over examples. Absolutely, Ms. Vivian. So in the equity crowdfunding space, there are several types of crowdfunding. Let's start there, and then we'll talk about the types of terms of the agreement. So you've got debt, right? You've got equity, you've got rewards, and you also have donation, right? So in that equity umbrella, you have an equity just means you're buying into for ownership, right? Sometimes that ownership comes in the form of shares of something. Here recently, I've actually started calling it investment crowdfunding because it is a little confusing to say equity for everything, even when it's debt. Like it doesn't seem to always make sense to people. So I've started saying investment crowdfunding, which includes equity, debt, right? And so talking about it from that standpoint. But I'll just go over some of the different terms. So when you get a convertible note is basically you loaning the company money in the agreement that when they go public or when they have shares to offer, you can convert that convertible note, that loan, into shares. So you're giving the loan up front, but once the terms are met and the company goes public, you can transition that, convert them into shares. When it's equity, you get a portion of the company. A lot of times they will specify the type of shares you get. Most of the time it's the non-voting, I believe it's common stocks, which are the non-voting ones.
Yes, common shares.
Say, yeah. And so you also can have, from an equity standpoint, when it's just a straight loan, if you guys know that when we use honeycomb credit, when we have people that are on there, they're just straight loans, right? Where they're giving terms upfront, letting you know how much you'll be paid back, but there's no ownership in those deals, those transactions. They are strictly loans that will be repaid. Um, and so, I love your question, Ms. Vivian, because even when we started doing the honeycomb credit ones, and we've had probably about 3 or 4 of them, I think now, I had people saying, why are we doing this? I thought this was about equity. And so, my response is really, well, it's about building the portfolio, and cash flow is cash flow, right? So if you give a loan and you get something back and it has interest attached to it, that's still a win because that's cash flow. And you're helping an entrepreneur be able to get to the next stages of their business, which could now take them to an equity raise, right? You guys remember Guidance Whiskey that we had? I think they were our second company to pitch. One of the things he said to me was, in a year, I'll be ready to do equity. And so, this is the loans are oftentimes phase one for these companies, and they have a long-term plan of doing other things. And if we're already on their radar, and if they've already won us over when they do have these equity raises where you can actually get ownership, then they could be primed for our portfolio because we're already familiar with them.
Can I add something in there, please?
Absolutely.
I want to go back to the convertible notes. There's something else, just from my years of experience with working with companies that are raising capital. Sometimes a company will do a convertible note because they aren't ready yet to put a valuation on their business. And that is actually helpful to us as what they call family and friend or seed stage investors. Because if they put a valuation on their business too early, and then they come underneath what the valuation should be in a later round, then we lose money, and we don't want to lose money. So what an entrepreneur would be advised to do oftentimes, because a lot of times they don't know about these things initially, is to set up a convertible note. And the way that the convertible note usually works is it says, okay, you're giving me $1 today. If at some point in the future, it could be IPO, but usually it's when you have a second round of funding and a bigger lead investor comes in and puts a valuation on the company. So let's say that the lead investor comes in and they value each stock at $2. I'm going to keep the number simple.
Okay.
They value each stock at $2, right? And you put in $100 into their convertible note initially. Well, you would think it would convert into 50 shares, right? Most people would think that. However, in all of the convertible notes I've seen, there's usually a discount. Because you've gotten in early, what they will say is that investor that set the $2 price, he has to pay $2. But you, because you believed in me early and you did this convertible note, we will sell the shares to you for $1.60. So instead of getting 50 shares, you get, I don't know what the numbers are, let's say 55 or 60 shares, right? And I just want people to understand that, because that is some of the power of early investing as well with these convertible notes. The other thing is there seems to be a little confusion in the chat about the 15% to 20% ROI. I was saying that over a 25-year period, it's been proven that it's about 40 to 45% return on investment annualized. So I don't know where we got the 15.
I think that's related to John's comment.
Okay, let's see John's comment here.
Yeah, I think that's related to John's comment where he says diversification means focusing on investments that have 20x return potential, as well as S&P 15% return potential. 15 to 20% is great, but doesn't happen every year or lead to game-changing wealth. That was John's comment.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I agree that 20% annual return doesn't lead to game-changing wealth, especially in our community. But
And
um,
it could lead to enough wealth that you can now invest in something else that does lead to the game-changing wealth. So
yes,
maybe in of itself it doesn't, but I think it could be the catalyst to something else.
yes. So, um, but I did want to let everybody know when I originally said, that real estate and crypto and these types of early stage investments are the top three investments proven out with regards to return on investment.
And I'll just add, just because I don't want the community to hear one thing,
Yes,
with crypto, you have to educate yourself on,
please.
yes, on right, it's a company and a business like anything else, right? So it's not just this coin or this asset. There is a business behind it. It has a purpose, or it should have a purpose. And so you want to, and it should solve a problem, that as well. And so you want to make sure you're educating yourself clearly about crypto before you get in the space. There are a lot of schemes out there where people are hyping up certain cryptocurrencies, and they are considered to be what's called pump and dumps, right? So if I can get 1,000 people to say buy XYZ coin, and that gets around, and especially it spreads like wildfire on the internet, then everybody thinks XYZ coin is a great asset. And it might be the opposite of that, but it might make you a little bit of money because if enough people say it's good. So I just want, for many of us, right, because we know that cryptocurrency is still in its early stages. We also know that as a Black community, we're not as versed or well versed on that space. And so if you consider getting in that space, please, please, please do your research. Join groups like Black People in Crypto. Black Blockchain Consultant has a group on, I always mix it up. It's Discord we have the group on, right, Sheree?
That's correct.
Yeah, so a group on Discord, and these are great communities where you can educate yourself on the space. Be very leery, never give your private key to anyone. Like this is just crypto 101, right? Don't give your private key to anyone. If you get an email from Coinbase, delete it. It's not really Coinbase. Uh, if you get a text message about your crypto being stolen, delete it. Nobody stole it, but that person in the text message is trying to steal it. So just be very, very leery and educate yourself if you enter that space. But Cherie is correct. There's definitely money to be made. What
Yeah,
else?
and
Let's
just
see if
one more thing. So I'm going to put this as a pin for people, and that is I was listening to a podcast yesterday, I think, with Anthony Pompliano, who is very big in the crypto space, and he has now a crypto job board, and he believes that that crypto jobs are like the up and coming thing, where there's going to be hundreds of thousands of these jobs over the next few years. So if you do customer service, if you do project management, anything like that, and you want to get a job in the cryptocurrency industry, email me. I'll send you some resources. That's all. I guess I should say that. Email me.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. See, Dexter says, I'm currently investing in the pitches that you bring to us, but I would also love to invest into the 10K project. Not exactly sure in which form, but I would like to put my money on a sure thing. Well, thank you, Dexter. That was such a great compliment. Currently, we are not accepting investments, right? The company currently is funded, Cherie and I, and through membership. But it doesn't mean that down the line somewhere that doesn't become a thing. Right now, the biggest help you can give us, and Cherie, if I misspeak, or please jump in and correct me, but I think the biggest assistance you can give us is helping us get the word out that we exist. The world's opening back up. People are coming to some level of normalcy. Everybody's not in front of the computer like we've been for the last year. And we don't want to lose momentum, because what we believe is that we're adding value, right, for people who are members. And so help us get the word out. the more we get the word out, the more entrepreneurs that we can assist, the bigger we will become. And then at that point, maybe there would be talk about accepting investments. Maybe we'll have our own campaign. Who knows? But right now, we're just trying to, bootstrap our way to just becoming a household name. This week was a big week, I think, for me anyway. We had someone actually reach out to us. So normally I'm finding the talent to pitch to us. And this week we had someone reach out to us. And I was so excited. I actually talked to him today. He's going to pitch. He's going to pitch on August 3rd. And so I asked how he learned about us, and he was pitching to another group. And in that group, someone said, you need to reach out to the 10K Project. And then that person sent an email and made the introduction. And so like that just made we got the email yesterday on Sunday, and that made my entire day, because I was like, yes, like people are finding us now. Like that's ultimately the goal, is for entrepreneurs to reach out to us. And we are doing, Cherie, can I tell them about the course?
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the other things that we're doing, what we've learned in this year and a half is that not a lot of people know what equity crowdfunding even is, right? When you talk about investment, people know stocks and that's it. And so we are partnering with a crowdfunding coach and strategist to create a course that's going to help entrepreneurs get from A to Z with a successful campaign. So, because we're meeting a lot of entrepreneurs who they don't yet have a campaign. They have great ideas. Some of them have businesses already developed and they need capital, but they don't know how to maneuver through the process of crowdfunding. So we're going to create a course for them to be able to successfully do that. And the idea behind that is, once they have a successful campaign, once they have a campaign up and running, then they also will come and pitch for us to the community. So we just keep it, again, we talk about that ecosystem all the time. This is just another way to keep all of that, the talent and the potential wealth within the community by helping the entrepreneurs. So
yeah, we're super excited about the course. It'll definitely be out in the fall. We're going for the second week in September for it to be released. So definitely stay tuned with regards to that. And the other thing that we wanted to talk about with everyone is our member drive. So we are in the process now of actively looking to double our membership. Someone asked earlier in the chat how many members we have. We have over 1,500. I don't have the exact number in my head. I'm not at my computer. But we want to double. And we want to do that over the next few months. We are focused on, methodical growth as well, because we want to make sure that everyone who comes in is well taken care of and has the education and the foundation that they need. But I was also telling Tawana that with the right endorsement from the right person, we could get up to 10,000 by the end of the year. So that is, pray for us. That is the goal.
That is the goal.
That is the goal.
And we want to share with you also the big goal, right? That we both believe is attainable. We want to be the place where an entrepreneur can come and raise the $5 million, right, that the law allows, the max, in 24 hours. We want this community to be that powerful, right? That we come out and we show up, and when it's a good deal, right, something good for our portfolios, we invest in it and they raise their money in 24 hours. And we rinse and repeat that thing over and over and over again. Imagine the impact we can make in the Black community, because what we know is, we learned this a year ago, the two biggest employers of African-American people was the government and other Black businesses.
That's
right?
right.
We learned that a year ago. I remembered that. We learned that. I learned that here at the 10K Project. And so If we're one of the larger employers of Black people, then the more we fund or help fund these businesses, think of what impact we can make in our community as it relates to joblessness and homelessness, all of those things. Like it sounds like one thing, but when you insert capital into this community, it becomes a whole nother thing that you didn't even realize it could be. But that's our big goal. We want this to be the place where people say, "Oh, I'm going to the 10K." Right? That's where I want to go to raise money because that community is awesome.
And not only do we want to, so that was the big goal for me, is the $5 million in 24 hours and rinse and repeat. But also, there's a lot of money out there earmarked for African American businesses in terms of revenue, contracts, et cetera, that we are not getting access to. Joe Biden, I think he signed it already. It was in regard to the Tulsa massacre. He was talking about adding $100 million of additional government contracts specifically for, I think it was minority, but I'm going to say Black government contractors. 10K needs to organize around some businesses in order for them to get that money. The Fortune 500 companies, they bring in $13 trillion a year in revenues. And not all of that money goes to payroll. Some of it goes to outside consultants, outside legal people, the logistics people, et cetera. We need to be in positions to capture this money. The only way we're going to make it out of the financial straits that we're in is when we band together and we have a common purpose and a common goal. And this is, I've been talking with people on the back end about buying businesses and about us being very strategic over the next few years so that we can get certain businesses that can be in line to capture large amounts of this government money and this corporate money that we currently aren't getting. That's one of the big goals as well.
Yeah, very good, Cherie.
Yeah.
Brian says, would consideration be given to expanding the 10K project internationally and investing in ventures and entrepreneurs outside the United States, specific to the Caribbean diaspora? So, Brian, I'm going to say yes, but I think we've got to stair step our way there. And what I mean by that is, right now, we're just invested in equity crowdfunding deals. I think we probably should consider the next step to be investing in deals that are not necessarily equity crowdfunding, right? Maybe it's a subscription agreement or private placement memorandum, something like that, and see how that works, right? I'm always, as you guys know, I'm very, very protective, overprotective of this community and of all of you, right? And so I want to make sure to the best of my ability, because I can't avoid a scam, right? I can't avoid if someone isn't successful, but I can darn sure try to vet and to make sure it appears to be legitimate before we present anyone to you guys, right? But then you have to also vet and do your own due diligence. But I say all of that to say, when you get to international deals, it gets a little more dicey, right? Do we have access to the due diligence documentation? Can we successfully vet the person that may be from a different country? So if we can create a blueprint, so this is my answer to you, Brian, if we can create a blueprint that can get us to a place where we believe we're doing everything we can to successfully vet and do our due diligence, right? Maybe we take a page out of a VC handbook, what are they using for international deals? How are they vetting all of this? Then we absolutely will not discount that. We will consider it. But I do think we're a little bit away from that because we probably could do a little bit more with just businesses that don't even have equity crowdfunding campaigns and test that kind of dip our toe there for a little bit. But Trent says, got to do our due diligence and use our resource properly. Absolutely.
I
But I
agree.
like the idea of us growing this to where we can bring a lot of different, we talk about alternative investments, investing outside of this country would fit into that bucket. But I just want to make sure people don't take advantage of us, because as we grow, people are going to be looking at us for nefarious reasons, right? And we just want to be careful. So I'm always, and I'm a little overprotective. So that's what we'll need Cherie to kind of jump in and say, well, wait a minute, Tawana, because I can get a little overprotective sometimes, and then just say no, we're not going to do that. That's too risky. But I'm definitely open to it. I think it's going to be good for us over time. But I just want us to, I want us to build wealth. I don't want us to lose it to scammers. Did you have anything to add to that, Cherie?
Uh, no, I don't, but I have one final thing, if you wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, we do need your help for our membership drive. If you like go live at all on your Facebook, and you've got friends that listen to you or things like that, or, there's a group of people that you want to bring together, and Tawana or I or both of us can come and speak with those individuals. I'm open. So email me info@the10kproject.com. Also, we are putting money into advertising, but I feel like you are the best advertisers as our current members. So if you have an idea for any kind of a membership challenge, we'd be willing to put up a prize for you sharing the word on social media and tagging something specific. So we've been tossing out ideas around, but someone from the community may have a better idea. Info@the10kproject.com, because we know that we want more people like you as part of our community.
Yeah. And I'll just add then also, and Vivian, I think this is Miss Vivian, I think this is in line with your question that you said, is there any business portion of 10K that can be used globally? We accept global members. So people from other countries can invest in us, right? And they can come to the Bet on Black pitches and invest in the Black businesses that we're bringing. That ultimately helps the mission of 10K, right? So we don't just have to grow domestically. We can grow the membership globally as well. They'll just be investing in American Black entrepreneurs. And, the more people I talk to, they have some sort of connection to, Africa in particular, the continent. And I say, tell them about 10K as well. The more people that know about us, the faster we get to the goal and the mission of helping more entrepreneurs and building wealth for our families.
I agree. So with that, Tawana, unless you have anything else, we can end on time today.
Yes, thank you guys.
So next week, I want to tell everyone who I have next week, because I'm kind of excited. I'm a little geeked out about this one. I hope that the family will like this one. So there is a woman named Melissa who was introduced to me. She's a person who teaches you how to get out of bad contracts. How to get out of bad contracts. So I think from a personal point of view, some of us have gotten into bad contracts, or we may at one point get into them and need to know some ways to get out of them. So it's a unique subject that Melissa talks about. So again, if y'all are geeks like me and you want to learn this, even just keep it in the back of your head for future, that's next week.
See, that's a great session. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing that you don't think about until you need, right? And so to be able to bring something like this proactively so that people know, and I'm sure in that session, she's going to talk about how to avoid getting in a bad contract to begin with, right?
Yes,
Like,
she will.
So this is the kind of content that I'm so proud that we're doing, because it is truly going to save people a lot of money down the line, right? to avoid some of these things. So good job, Cherie. That's awesome. That one's gonna be good.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Vivian, as well. And I see everybody else in the chat. So that's all I have for today.
All right. Oh, it looks like we missed a question. Sion, I hope I'm saying your name right, said, are there any customized or personalized financial advisory opportunities? I'm not sure I understand
he
that
asked
question.
that earlier, and I think the answer is that we have Freeman Capital.
Okay.
We have
Perfect.
Freeman Capital. Yes.
Sorry, I missed that one earlier. Okay. With that said, have a wonderful evening. Tomorrow, if you are already a member, I'll see you tomorrow. Bet on Black Pitch Tuesday at 8. If you are not a member, please consider joining. You join this evening, Cherie will make sure you're on tomorrow's mailing list to get everything. Tomorrow's industry, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is the 13th. Oh, tomorrow's industry is, what can I say? Sleep aid. That's tomorrow's industry. So something to help people sleep. And it's not a drug, but it's something else. I love the little teasers.
We're going to have to hire you for that.
Oh, goodness. All right, guys. I love you all. You guys are amazing. Thank you again for supporting us, Cherie. I love you. And I will talk to you all later.
Love everybody. Love you too.
Good
Take
night.
care. Bye.